Hello everyone, I'm Priyanka and today we will discuss about nervous system. Nervous system detect and respond to changes inside and outside the body. Nervous system stimulation provide an immediate response while endocrine activity is the main slower and more prolonged response. The nervous system consists of the brain, the spinal cord, and peripheral nerves. The structure and organization of the tissue that form these components enables rapid communication between different part of body. Response to changes in the internal environment, regulatory involuntary function such as blood pressure and digestive activity. Respond to changes in the external environment, maintain posture and other voluntary activities. So our nervous system is mainly grouped in two parts. First, we have central nervous system that consists of brain and spinal cord, and second one is peripheral nervous system that consists of all the nerve outside the brain and the spinal cord. Now, our peripheral nervous system comprised paired uh, sensory as well as motor nerves. Now, the peripheral nervous system is further divided into sensory division and motor division. In turn, this motor division is involved in activities that are voluntary, the somatic nervous system, involuntary, that is autonomic nervous system, which have cardiac muscles and glands and all. The involuntary autonomic nervous system is further divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic division. Further, the neurons are the structure function unit of our nervous system. The nervous system consists of vast number of cells called neurons. Suppose supported by a special type of connective tissues. Further, each neuron consists of a cell body and it processes one axon and many dendrites. Neurons are commonly referred to as nerve cells. Bundle of axons bonded together are called nerves. Further, talking about the property of neurons, neurons have the characteristic ability to initiate nerve impulse in the response to stimuli from outside the body, for example touch, light wave, inside the body, for example a change in the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood alter respiration uh, through may uh, result in voluntary movement. In the body, this stimulation may be described as partly electrical and uh, partly chemical electrical in the motor nerve, and sensory nerve ending initiate nerve impulse, a chemical in the transmission of impulse between one neuron and the next or between the neurons and an effector organ. Next property, it have conductivity, which means the ability to transmit an impulse. Further talking about the part of the neurons, first we have cell body. Now the nerve cell varies considerable in size and shape, but they are all too small to be seen by the naked eyes. Cell body form the grey matter of the nervous system and are found at the peripheral of the brain and in the center of the spinal cord. Next we have axon. Each nerve cell has only one axon carrying nerve impulse away from the cell body. They are usually longer than the dendrites, sometimes as long as 100 centimeter. Further, structure of an axon. The membrane of the axon is called as exolemma, and it encloses the cytoplasmic extension of the cell body. Now further, the large axons and those of the peripheral nerve are surrounded by myelin sheaths. They consist of several Schwann cells arranged along the cell of the axon. Further, we have dendrites. The dendrites are the main short processes that receive and carry incoming impulse towards cell body. They have the same structure as axon but are usually shorter and branching. In motor nerves, they form a part of synapse, and in sensory neurons, they form a part of sensory receptor that respond to specific stimuli. Next, we have the nerve impulse, that is action potential. An impulse is initiated by stimulation of sensory nerve ending or by passage of an impulse from another nerve. Transmission of impulse or action potential is due to movement of ion across the nerve cell membrane. In the rest state of the nerve cell membrane, a polarized cell membrane is polarized due to difference in the concentration of ion across the plasma membrane. This means that there is a different electrical charge on each side of the membrane, which is called resting membrane potential. At the rest, the charge on the outside is positive and inside is negative. The principal ion involved are sodium, the main extracellular cation, potassium, the main intercellular cation. In the resting state, there is a continuous tendency for these ions to diffuse along their concentration gradient, that is, potassium outwards and sodium inwards. When stimulate the permeability of the nerve cell membrane to these ion changes, initially sodium floods into the neurons from the extracellular fluid, causing depolarization, creating a nerve impulse or action potential. Depolarization is a very rapid embedding in the conduction of the nerve impulse along the entire length of the neurons in the few milliseconds. It passes from the point of stimulation in one direction only, that is, away from the point of stimulation towards the area of resting potential. The one-way direction of the transmission is ensured because following depolarization, it takes time for the repolarization to occur. During this process, potassium floods out of the neurons and the movement of these ions return the membrane potential to its resting state. Now this is called the refractory period, during which re-stimulation is not possible. At the neuron's return to its original resting state, the action of the sodium potential pump expel sodium from the cell in the exchange of potassium. So this is all about action potential. Next we have type of nerves, sensory or afferent nerve. When the action potential are generated by sensory receptor on the dendrites of these neurons, They are transmitted to the spinal cord by the sensory nerve fibers. The impulse may then pass to the brain or to connector neurons of the reflex arc in the spinal cord. Next, we have sensory receptors. Specialized ending of the sensory neuron respond to differentiate stimuli inside and outside the body. Somatic, somatic, somatic contagious or common sense. These originate in the skin. They are pain, touch, heat, and cold. Sensory nerves ending in the skin are fine branching filaments without myelin sheaths. When stimulated, an impulse is generated and transmitted by the sensory nerve to the brain where the sensation is pre-received. Proprioceptor senses. These originated in muscles and joints and contribute to maintenance of the balance and postures. Special senses. These are sight, hearing, balance, smell and taste. Next we have autonomic afferent nerves. These originate in internal organs, gland and tissue. For example, baroreceptors, chemoreceptors, and are associated with reflex regulation of involuntary activities. Next, we have motor or afferent nerves. Motor nerve originate in the brain, spinal cord, and autonomic ganglia. They transmit impulse to the effector organ, that is our muscles and gland. There are further two types. Somatic nerve involves the voluntary or reflexed skeleton muscles contraction, and other one is autonomic nerve, that is further of sympathetic and parasympathetic, involves in the cardiac and smooth muscles contraction. Next we have mixed nerves. In the spinal cord, sensory or motor nerves are arranged in a separate group or track. Outside the spinal cord, when the sensory and the motor nerves are enclosed within the same sheet of connective tissue, they are called as mixed nerves. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.